Hi, I'm Rachel. I create colourful paintings and I make tutorials so that you can learn how to paint them too. Today I'm going to show you how I painted this colourful bee. As always, this is a sped up version, but if you would like to watch the full length tutorial, just head to the link in the description of this video and sign up to my Patreon. You'll get instant access to all of my full length art tutorials so that you can see exactly how I create my paintings from start to finish. I'm starting out by sketching the bee onto my canvas. I've wanted to paint a colourful bee for a really long time, so I'm so excited that I've finally got around to painting this. I'm going to make a video showing you how I planned this painting, so once that's up I'll link to it in the description. I'm painting a wash of light blue paint over the whole of the canvas. I've watered it down slightly so that I can still see my pencil lines, and then I'm just adding some light pink paint to the background. Now I'm splattering paint onto the background to give it a splash of colour. I've created a tutorial showing you how I flick paint to create big bold splatters, so I'll link to that below. As you can see, the splashes of paint add so much colour to the canvas. Okay, so to start the bee, I'm painting the first layer and defining the black and yellow stripes. I'm using light blue paint to add the highlights in the centre and around the edges of the bee to make sure it looks three-dimensional. For the yellow sections, I'm using a mix of yellow, orange and pink paint to make sure that it's really vibrant. Then I'm just continuing with the same technique to paint the first layer of the bee. Using blues in the black sections and pinks in the yellow section really make the painting pop and look really bright and colourful. If you've seen my art, you'll know that I always make really colourful paintings. I love painting with colour, it makes me feel so happy, and I love a vibrant piece of art. As the wings will be transparent, I'm adding some of the colours to the sections of the wings that will be overlapping the bee's body. It looks a bit messy at this stage, but I'll neaten it up when I paint the wings. Now I'm just starting on the second layer of the bee. If you've watched any of my other tutorials, then you'll know that I usually work in layers to create a painting. I find that it really adds depth and makes the whole process easier. I want the bee to look extra cute and fluffy, so in this layer I'm using a pointed paintbrush to add lots of thin lines. I'm following the colours from the first layer and using it as a guide to know where to add highlights and shadows. To make the bee look really fluffy, I'm adding more thin hairlines in between the black and yellow sections of the bee. Now I'm starting on the legs. I'm using a range of blue paints to do this, adding dark blue around the edges and then light blue in the centre. The wings are the hardest part of this painting as we want them to look transparent. I'm adding a light blue paint to each section, and then I'll use dark blue paint to add a line around each of the sections. To fill in each section of the wing, I am using light blue paint and then adding a highlight with white paint. Adding this highlight makes it look as if the light is bouncing off the wing. Here I'm just adding more white paint to emphasise the highlight. To paint the second wing, I'm using the exact same process and technique as the first wing. I'm also using the same colours of paint as I want both of the wings to look pretty much the same. As I've decided to paint the bee from bird's eye view, I want to make it as symmetrical as possible. So I'm just adding a thin line around each of the sections with dark blue paint. This helps to define each section of the wing. It's really important to add some blue and yellow on the sections of the wing that are overlapping the body, otherwise the wing would look opaque, which wouldn't be very realistic. Now I'm just adding some thin hairlines around the bee's legs to make them look fluffy. And to finish off the bee, I'm using the same paint to draw the antenna. I hope you like this bee painting tutorial. Remember to subscribe for more art tips and tutorials.